Welcome back to It Tastes Like Burning, this man.
This is Jesse.
And if you ever feel like reaching out to us, find us at ittasteslikeburningcast at Gmail. You can always support us on Patreon under the same hint tag. And we're on YouTube and a whole bunch of other places.
Yep.
So don't be afraid to like, click, subscribe. And that always helps the metrics out quite a bit.
So on the merch site, we did sell some candles. Unfortunately, they don't smell like a trailer house fire. But we did sell a couple of candles here the other day. So there's candles available on there now.
Oh,
they don't smell like trailer house fire, but you can always add some funk to the jar.
Get some drywall and little fiberglass and some carpet, and
just shove it down in
grab
there.
a handful of dirt, throw it in a jar, put a lid on it, and come back in a week. Burn that.
Should work out.
You'll be right on it.
Maybe some formaldehyde.
Clorox.
Yeah.
It's that special tinge. So, on today's subject, on the eve of going into our 150th annual state convention at Waco, which will be next week.
Yeah.
We have kind of a continuation of a discussion that me and Jesse were having the other night, where what we're going to talk about is grants, but kind of want to highlight specifically where all those grants came from and how they became a thing. So, like for our organization, we qualified just this year, for a tanker, $300,000, PPE, $25,000, tools and equipment, $25,000, training, $10,000. It's training aids, $10,000. And then we also got a brand new skid unit for a brush truck. So add it all together, divide by 12, multiply by 0. It's about $500,000 when you're all said and done. Okay. And the source of those grants at face value is the Texas Forest Service through House Bill 2604. All right. But who actually lobbied for the creation of and ultimately the ability to hand out said grants?
So it even goes farther than that. The major effort in that was the State Farm and Fire Marshal Association, but where that money comes from is even interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How that money is derived. Like this catch-up thing was the state legislature appropriated money to catch it up, right? It came out of tax dollars and surplus.
Who lobbied for it?
The State Farm and Fire Marshals.
Right. SFFMA.
Right. And back when that started was 2001?
I think it was 2001. Not 100% sure.
I think it was 2001, somewhere around in the early 2000s. It was when the program began, and it started out as a way to get some equipment and tools in the hands of more rural departments in the state of Texas that lack the tax base or the support of their local governments.
Yeah, it's just the fact of the matter is there may only be 250 people in the entire county.
Right.
There is no tax base.
Yeah.
Just isn't. The county is 1,000 square miles. There's 250 people, and they all live and work at the same ranch.
Yeah. That's ag. Yeah.
That's ag exempt. Yeah. There is no tax.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter what you tax. It's still zero.
You fast forward 25 years, and that program's evolved through that 25 years, and it's grown, and the backlog that was created was massive, right? Because there's always any program like that, there's always more requests than there are dollars.
Sure.
If it was the other way around, it would surely fix itself in short order, right?
Should. Ideally, on paper, like If you only have $300 in requests, but you're giving out $500,
Yeah.
you're good to go.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
It's not how that works.
No.
And oddly enough, when it was created and the inception of it was funded by basically insurance premiums, insurance companies setting aside a portion of the premium to fund this program.
Right.
For all insurance in the state of Texas. All property insurance, I should say, whether that be dwelling or commercial or whatever, but property insurance. And so the definitely the amount of property has increased in 25 years, and definitely the premiums have increased in 25 years. But up until recently, the kind of the appropriations of that had set pretty stagnant as far as how much money
You could allocate
out of it. So this last legislative session, it was proposed to play catch up, get it back to a flush amount, and then create a mechanism to increase that allocation year over year to get it to where it stays sovereign or functional. Now we'll see, right?
Yeah, well, you've got a new boomerang in the equation now, where inflation used to be relatively consistent.
Yeah, now it's very inconsistent.
Inflation's very, very inconsistent, and it makes it very, very difficult for any tax subsidized program like this to be able to always say caught up, or solvent's the wrong word here, but to a certain extent that's what you're kind of battling up against here, is where you have historically $20,000 a year given out for bunker gear. Okay, now PPE.
And 25 years ago, that money would buy a lot of bunker gear.
Right. Okay. But I'll sum it up here real short and simple for you. Since COVID, February of 2020, bunker gear's now gone up 51%. So when you have a program
that little,
that's it. So when you have a program that is vital to the safety of these organizations that already were struggling very much so being able to buy this equipment 6 and 7 years ago, now it's literally gone up 100%.
On the truck side of it's even more insane than the PPE side, right? You look at the price of a truck in 2001, four-door commercial cab pumper was $168,000. The two that we bought in
Well, hold on.
18.
Hold on real quick. I'm going to throw one more truck in there because Rescue One. That's a very loaded truck. Okay. Rescue One's, I mean, when I say loaded down, that truck's loaded down. And that's a rescue engine, roll up sides. And that truck was $299 custom cab in 2004.
Right.
And I mean, I'm telling you, that truck is loaded for bear.
In 2018, took delivery of two commercial cab, same basic truck as the one from 2001, and those trucks were 260,000.
Okay, now real quick, let's add another truck in there. So we have a fantastic light and air truck on a Freightliner chassis, 4-door Freightliner, gigantic compressor, and a gigantic generator on it, 40 kW generator. That truck was $375.
Yeah.
And that was 2016, 17. Okay. And then you had your 18.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's keep fast forwarding. 2019, we took delivery of a very, very nice custom engine. Okay. Top mount engine, custom cab, uh, loaded for bear, fully equipped, and it was 725. The next year, not even year, at the end of the year, we had a brand new mid mount platform deliver, fully equipped for 1.25 million. Okay. Fast forward. This year, we have 4 trucks delivered. Okay. The rear mount single axle stick, not equipped, is 1.75 million. If we were going to get a sister truck to the mid mount, it would be 2.3 million, not equipped. And if we were crazy and stupid enough and awesome enough to be able to get a tiller, it's close to 3. The engine, very nice, incredible engine that we were talking about.
It costs as much as the tower did.
Yeah, it costs 1.2 million now. Like,
Yeah.
the
And that commercial cab truck that we bought at my previous apartment that was 260 in 2018 is now 750.
right, that light and air truck,
Is $1 million.
that light and air truck's $1 million now.
Mm-hmm.
I truly incapable, because I've never lived on the other side of the tracks. I've always been lucky to be the city on the hill. I don't know how 99% of the country is able to do it.
Yeah, how do you raise money for real? And there's departments out there doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Wichita West just in the last year or two raised money to buy an engine that's been, you know, $500,000 raised to $500,000. You know, and it's just wild that any department can do that.
Now, if you want to do something truly nuts, you ought to sit down and you ought to calculate what an engine costs 20 years ago, 25 years ago, what an engine costs today, what an engine's going to cost in another 25 years, and what it'll cost in 50 years. You want to see something that's terrifying?
Yeah, that curve is.
Now, I'm telling you, we'll be dead.
Yeah.
Okay. It's someone, well, maybe under nuclear ash too, but someone in an archaeologist outfit's going to dig up this podcast. Okay. And they're going to see that some fat, angry bastard in Texas in 2026 was telling you in 2075 an aerial is going to cost $15 million.
Yeah.
That's what the inflation curve looks like. $15 million. You're having a hard time getting $100,000 for a new cop car or $1 million for an engine.
Yeah.
How are you going to get $15 million? It is insane.
What's $15 today buys you a really nice plane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's I don't know. And coming back to it, you know, thank you, Texas legislatures. Thank you, SFFMA, for being so proactive and realizing that we had to do something.
Yeah. We're spinning our wheels. And there was a catalyst to that, right? You got the Panhandle fires and some other events. And unfortunately in the fire service world, like it takes events to trigger action, right?
Unfortunately.
It rarely triggers off of just good intent and knowledge. It takes an event to make that happen. And there will be other events and there'll be other triggers and some stuff will happen. I mean, you're seeing it right now flood response and how that's laying out working, right?
Mhm.
I'm feel quite certain that because of the forecast for this weekend, there's deployable resources being spread out to certain areas in the event there is flooding.
Yeah, well, this is going to sound terrible when I say it, but it's just true. We reference this quote occasionally. The great Rahm Emanuel said in 2008, "Let no good crisis go to waste." And I hate to say it, but the fact of the matter is that the fire departments are there for crisis.
Right.
That is your job, okay? And there is nothing wrong as a emergency services provider, a crisis manager, to go out there and take an event that happened and highlight the need at an individual, local, city, county, state level.
Because the need was there before the event.
Right. And unfortunately, the event had to happen to be able to highlight the need.
Right.
It's just that's the way this works. It just is. I mean, I can reference Granbury's history on buying apparatus. Very first time that we bought a big ladder truck, it's because we had a gigantic uh, lumber mill caught on fire, hardware store and lumber mill caught on fire. And you couldn't fight that fire with engines.
Right.
After that fire is when the city bought their ladder truck. That's just the way it works. Just is.
Yeah.
And that's not just uniquely American or Texas. That's how it works globally.
Yeah. Well, 'cause it's easier to plan for the best and hope for the best than it is to plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Right. Yeah. And I just think that, we're on the verge of this and it's important to highlight that Texas is lucky. We have legislatures that pay attention, that actually do try and do stuff for their communities, um, while also being fiscally responsible.
Yeah. Oops, somebody's here.
Because the fact of the matter is that you could have given us $1 billion and it still wouldn't have changed anything. So short distraction there. We were having a refill of supplies. But yeah, it's one of those things where, Texas is one of the proactive states.
Yeah. And oddly enough, Texas is in a boom right now. Like the state itself is running in surpluses and there's growth and uh, there's a lot of things happening in Texas that are not necessarily happening in other parts of the country.
No. Well, and let me give you another example of this. Because I was asking my dad this. The state of Colorado doesn't have a state fire school. So, like, there's not a program in the state of Colorado for firefighters to go to that have volunteered to get training. Okay. Uh, I know Oklahoma does. I know Kansas does. I know Nebraska does. I know Louisiana does. I don't know about Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Utah.
Idaho and Washington do.
Okay. Bet Oregon does.
I bet if Washington does, Oregon does. Yeah. In
California doesn't.
Texas has it in a different shape and form, but it essentially exists.
Yep. So I don't know. I think there's a certain point to this where the state also has to want to support their volunteers.
So this is getting deep in the weeds, right? But I've thought about this some, and I don't have an answer, right? So we can all say, why wouldn't we support volunteers? They're giving their time and they're doing all this. But let's dive into that. Why wouldn't you? Because I think that it's not it's not for the reasons that you would suspect.
No,
I
no.
don't think it's because uh, you don't love them and you don't appreciate what they do or anything like that. I think it's really based on you take them for granted.
I think, yes. I also think there's a certain part of this where it is kind of circumstantial.
Right. Because you're taking a service that's being provided that you're not you're relying on it, but you're not having to provide input and financial incentive to.
I'm going to give you kind of like just a couple of different examples. So you're an oil town, okay? Your population is 5, but they find oil. Your population becomes 200,000. Yeah, that's an interesting problem.
Right.
Okay.
But what if you're the same oil town and your population doesn't become 200,000, it becomes 200?
Sure. No, you cut your own throat on the back end by having that big paid fire department.
Yeah, or having the volunteer department that you're not investing in.
Right. Another one, let's just say you're a Colorado ski resort, okay, where you have massive, absolutely massive influx of people that's seasonal. Okay. That makes perfect sense. You're way too expensive for anyone to be able to live locally. You're in 100% tourism based. Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think the situational part of it is so limited versus it's actually just hard to have a VFD because it actually requires the city council to have a cogent thought.
Yeah. I think it's I think sometimes the assumption is that they've done it by themselves or they've done it for themselves for this long. Why should we have to do anything now?
Right.
Or uh, how do we justify doing something for them when we're taking it out of our control?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a thing. I mean, we both know of a small town uh that is going through hell because they can't figure out how to work with their volunteers or their paid department.
Or their accounting or anybody else.
Yeah. Like that's a pretty unique situation that they've been able to pigeonhole themselves into pretty aggressively and
And
also
double down.
and yeah, double down on it at least. Um and all I can say is that in the short and long run, they're gonna lose.
You know what and there's always unintended consequences and everything. You know what one of the wild things that's come out of that?
I couldn't tell you.
The neighboring departments in the neighboring areas are growing and becoming more uh, prepared and
They don't have to. They have to do it because
they have to do it now.
the little bit of support they were getting from the other entities non-existent now.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it has improved. It has improved the area surrounding the problem, but the problem itself is festering and gotten worse.
Yeah. And then there's a malignant cancer that will kill all.
Yeah, it's wild. It's interesting to be a fly on the wall and watch what's happening there, and you just want to take a frying pan and go smack them in the head and tell them, "Listen here, idiots." But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know this I know this with emphatically, and I don't care how big the department is. I don't care if you're 5 calls a year or 50,000. You have to have funding. Okay. Now, that is a long and interesting, unusual discussion to determine what is adequate funding.
Right.
Okay. I will simply state this: it's not fish fries and cake sales. Now, if they want to have fish fries and cake sales for some extra,
It is briskets.
no, it is briskets. If you're one department, it's briskets. Uh,
But that's one department, right?
right. Ain't no one else doing that.
No, it's impossible to replicate. Can you try? Absolutely. Should you try? Yeah. Should you find your niche that works? Absolutely. Right? To do nothing would be insanity. But you can't just copy and paste stuff like that. That is a very much community driven thing.
That's had 40 years. Yeah. Like that's the answer though. You've got to have enough adequate funding for the organization for them not to have to pass the hat to see who's going to fill the truck. Like,
Because today they may not be able to.
you can't.
Can.
You can't right now. Yeah, like I said, I think there's a lot of discussion to be had there. I'm kind of looking forward to our trip when we go to the East Coast because
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can tackle a handful within like East Coast VFDs. Uh, and tell them like, you need to tell me everything how you operate.
So interesting enough, and there's a lot of it's that time of year, right? NBFC's gearing up to fix to have their big thing at the end of the month. They're dropping a lot of uh, literature and a lot of publications and research studies that have been happening over the last year or so. Well, I'm reading some of this stuff, and they dropped a social media marketing guide thing that, oddly enough, is nearly word for what we've been teaching here in Texas for a few years now. Like, I'm not saying they ripped it off; they didn't do that. It's just parallel conclusions, right? And but I saw another one today that was uh, retention aspects, and a lot of this was a nationwide study that was conducted, but this study, the results were things that you and I discuss on the regular on this program. So it's it takes an organization like that to publish documents that validate what we've known for a while, but to give it validity, right? To make it where it's the truth. Wasn't just mine and your opinion about some of these topics. It was actually the truth, right? And because a lot of ours is just theory and conjecture.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at an email there that I was not expecting to get.
Helicopter $1 million.
Even better. So I think we'll keep it short today.
So it was a wash of 25 cents.
Close. Much closer to that. I think it has holes in it.
Yeah.
Guys, if you ever have questions, concerns, comments, theories, interjections, ideas, you can always reach out to us at ittasteslikeburningcast at gmail.com. You can find us on Patreon, YouTube, a whole bunch of other places. Don't forget the merch store.
Yeah.
This is Matt.
This is Jesse.
Have a good one.